Hi guys, Chris Buckley here. Now today on Estate Agency Mastery, we have a legend of the game. This lady's been doing it since she was 17 years old. Carly, I know you're a supplier now, and I don't like having suppliers on, but your knowledge is pretty damn good. So you know the score. If you're an agent in Birmingham, Belfast, or Bognor Regis, you want tips to success. Give me 3 tips. What have you got for us?
3 tips. Okay, so I would go the first one, know your market, be the local expert. Obviously, working at Dataloft, I'm going to say that, but it's so important. Just be the local expert, share that local knowledge. The data that you've got of your area and knowing your area, if you're sharing this on your socials, you're not even asking for the business, but they'll come to you when a vendor in your area is ready to put their property on the market and they're thinking, who am I calling to get out and value the property? They'll absolutely call you because they will see you as the local expert. I think it's really important to have that and share it.
Do you know, my old business partner, Dominic, up in Solihull, he does, I think it's every Friday, it's an update of the week of stats, what sold, and the consistency of him doing that means that he is the go-to agent in Solihull, right? So once you've got these stats, do you just share an infographic? Do you do video? What would humor me, if you were becoming an agent next week, what would you do?
Yeah, I mean, this is not a plug for Dataloft, but that is what we do. But then there are ways that you can do it yourself as well, that with other platforms. And there are ways of doing it, the land registry and just what's going on in the marketplace. You can see it in the news, and it's key to just make a note of these and then in some way make it look, make it look good. It needs to be engaging. And that's the thing as well. We can do a lot of sharing on social media and it's just noise, it's white noise. So it's get something that's really meaningful and it doesn't need to be a lot of detail. It just needs to be an eye catcher of, something that's really interesting. So there are other platforms that agents can go to that's really easy to be able to log in, look at their area, and then have that information that they can share. But there are ways of doing it yourself as well.
Okay, fine. What gets the best result? Would it be jump behind camera? Is it infographics? Is it a mixture of the two? If you're advising kind of an individual agent, what would you say to go and do?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of the two. So having the data, and then it's obviously how you put it out there. And we know that people buy people. So, you need to be in front of the camera, but having that data just means that it's meaningful content that you're sharing. I see videos that agents do of walking down the streets and the top 10 streets in the area. And I think that's really good, but having that data just changes it up a bit. And yeah, it's what people are interested in.
I think it gives the agent the authority, right? It's like you're my go-to for the data again in Solihull, so that's where I'm going to tune into. And I think one of the things you've touched on really well is if you're omnipresent with it, so it's not just throwing it out once, right? If it goes as an email, if it goes in a video, if it goes as an infographic, if it's talked about, if it's circulated, if your staff are sharing, whatever it might be, I think that's when the play works really well, right? So
yeah, definitely. And it's the consistency as well. It's a really good way to just have a marketing plan in place for you as well. You Monday morning, you think, what am I doing for the rest of the week? And if you can put like data and those local insights part of your marketing, it takes that pressure off of what does the week or the month look like. So it might be that you put an infographic together and you share one a week. It might be that you want to do a market report and that's something else that you could share once a week. And so if you've got that plan there, you're not having to worry about what else am I sharing with the network. So yeah, consistency is key as well.
okay, Joe, I love that. And the biggest thing, even with these podcasts, there's a couple of weeks where I've just missed, right? So I've had to catch up and been like, do you know what? If you miss a week, it's not ideal, but don't let that be the last week, right? Just be as
Yeah.
consistent as you can do. Okay, great points. We're right on time, so well done so far, Carly. What is your second point then?
For me, and when I was an estate agent, creating urgency was just something that made my life a lot easier. So, you know, it is human nature that people want what other people have got. So you have the ability to create that urgency. So you might be able to do that through an open house, for example. Now, it doesn't work all the time, but in instances where it can, then it's great. You know, you hold back off the viewings, you create some of that urgency with those properties. The people that want to view it, spend some time with them arranging the viewing, you know, create the lifestyle of that property. And so, you know, if they've got another property that they want a second viewing on the Wednesday, that they'll wait to view your property on the Saturday because you've already sold it to them and they want to see it for themselves. So so yeah, that's just one example of creating urgency, but I think it is a key one. In being able to get a property sold in a realistic time frame. Yeah, get everyone around there at the same time.
John, I really like that. It's sales 101, right? That whole create urgency. I remember buying some like New Year's Eve tickets about 5 years ago, and the guy's like, "Oh, we've only got a few left." Turned up and he'd hardly sold any, right? But we didn't want to miss out because we were holding off and holding off. I think the open house one's great. And even if you've not got, you know, hundreds of people booked in, the fact you're strict with your time and you're like try and group everyone together so there's overlap and, you know,
Yeah,
have 15 sets of details printed off, even if there's only a few people coming, right? Just
yeah,
do it with integrity, but make it give the appearance that, listen, this isn't going to hang around. And listen, I love that. I think open house strategies are fully underused in the UK.
yeah, definitely. Like you only
Um,
need that one buyer, don't you? Only need the one buyer, and then, you know, people can think, I've got time to make this decision. But, you know, if they see other people there, then it just helps them make a,
And do you know what? Like in the UK, I think because we're so driven by KPIs and the agent comes from scarcity, by not creating the agency and the other way around. Agents will go, well, I'll go do that viewing because it's an hour out the office and it's just a bit of time away from
yeah,
the screen, etc. But actually, it also sorts the week from the chaff, right? So I can't do Saturday. Why not? I'm going to a party. Well, do you want to buy a house or go to a party?
yeah,
How eager are you to see it? Listen, the only time we can do, would it be possible if I put you in the last slot, you'd still be able to go to your party? Yeah, we could do that. All right, fine. So
yeah,
nice. Okay, I've just been reading Mauricio Mansky's book from the agency in the West Coast, and one of the big things he pushes, and I just think we don't have it here in the UK, is efficiency. Efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. So no, I love that one. Have you got any other tips or inefficiency for creating scarcity, or shall I move on to the next point? See,
move on.
sorry, I'm trying to throw you up, throw you
I
off.
know you are, yeah. Let's go on to the
Because
next
you're a
point.
supplier, I'm a lot nicer to I'm a lot nicer to real agents. Oh, meow.
Oh, wow.
Proud. Listen, no, you've been doing this since you were 17. I know you're a record setter and everything else. So this is gold. What's your final tip for us?
Final tip, and one that I really enjoy doing, is getting involved with the community. So, you know, word of mouth is so important and actually you get to that point, you don't actually really need to do much marketing once you're at that point. But to get there, yeah, you need to be the face of the community. You need to get involved with the local fates and the local schools and you know, the local coffee mornings and whatever that may be. Supporting where you can, you know, financially maybe as well, supporting the local community. But I think that's so important, and it is a way that will catapult you in getting the inquiries. And again, yeah, it's word of mouth.
It's so true, right? So there's 3 points I want to jump on with here. The estate agency, we call it drive to five. So how quickly can I get my first 5 listings? And the community play is definitely one, right? We've got one agent that literally plays a sport every other morning and just adds people to his databases, nurture those relationships, and that's what he does as his lead gen activity, which I really like. We've got another guy called Anthony Dowling, who he was the first guy to take. It's not my idea; it's an idea I stole from my old US business partners, and that is hire out a cinema, invite everyone in your local community on like a dampy day, a damp, rainy day, and put on a kids' film or something. So your touch points are: do you want to come to the cinema? It's free of charge. It's not high if you know anyone looking to sell. You get to promote it. It costs you £4.50 because you put on Finding Nemo and you just do some sweet bags or whatever. And the cinema are happy because they're getting people there on, say, a Sunday when people don't normally go. So I've been pushing it and pushing it. He was the first one to do it. And the lady came up to him and she was just like, "Oh, I've got a flat in Pimlico. You probably won't cover that area." And he was like, "Oh, no, I would. And we can refer it within the network." So we got that listing, right? And it's
Love that.
just,
That's a
yeah,
great idea.
I've got loads of them, Carly. Got loads of them. But it's
Share all
all
your
about,
secrets.
it is, but how nice is it to have a touch point, even if you can't go. And then when your photos go up, you go, "Oh, I missed out on that. I'd like to go next year." Right? And
Yeah.
also, it's hiring 2 cinemas, and all. If you invite 500 people in your local community to the cinema and 300 show up, one of my, again, old American business partners said, "If you're showing a damn kid Finding Nemo, who are they going to choose to sell their property, right?" And it's kind of that same thing. Um,
Yeah, things like creating like competitions in the local area as well, like as you say, for children, um, whether it's, I don't know, a colouring competition or a poem writing competition, and for it to be shared on social media. But again, that's a combination of your marketing there on social media, but then also getting involved with the local community
I
as
love
well.
it. So during COVID, what we did is we took photos of the high streets where the agents operated in, and then we turned them into, with an app, to colouring in photos and put the
Yeah,
logo.
nice.
So it was, obviously all the kids are off school. Parents are like, "What the hell do we do?" Like, they're on Facebook just for sanity, and it's print this off and enter in a competition. So there you go, kids, colour that in. And then we're obviously doing a competition. It's, these guys are pretty smart, and obviously estate agencies were open during COVID, which is mad, but there we go.
Yeah.
Um, and our agents were the only guys getting, building their database and getting leads through. I think it's absolutely huge. I can't remember the episode now, but on an earlier episode with Dom Marcel, I think it's episode 8, he talks about, he goes into the community on Halloween, and he just has refreshment stands for the parents, like on like in the parks and stuff, so they can pop in and just get a nice drink and like not have to, chat 5 minutes. And he's like, we don't really plug the business, and we share photos, but everyone's like, "Thank you so much," and helping the community in which you serve, I think is,
Yeah.
it's not just sponsoring a kids football team like most agents do. It goes so far. So
Yeah. Yeah, there's
thank you. You've
some
allowed me
really
to rant there, but I appreciate it.
yeah. We've obviously got a lot of ideas up your sleeve there, so
Got a
it's
few.
good that you can share those with your agents as
I've got,
well.
I've got a few. Carly, I'm going to curveball you, right? And it's the last question for me, and we've nailed this time wise. From everything that you've been supplier side, you've obviously been a great agent. Give us just one tip that you think people should do, whether it's just go and follow Raya Serhart, right? Or um if door knock every day or whatever. Just give us one tip that you think's gold that agents don't do in the UK.
Well, you've just said it. The one thing is go and door knock. Choose what your minimum number needs to be and stick to it every day. I used to do it. I think one of the few strange people that actually enjoyed it, but they were the easiest instructions. For me, that's the number one. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it, then take someone with you that could help you, or just get over that initial thing that's holding you back. But yeah, absolutely,
Job.
definitely door knock.
We grew our first business through door knocking. I've got a story we haven't got time for on this podcast, but it's so true. I think agents in the UK hate it. Agents from outside the UK, when they fly over it and they go, "Wait, you can legally knock on someone else's for sale board, you don't lose your license." Well,
Yeah.
we don't have licenses. What? But they just see it as a big sign saying, "I cannot sell my property." They're like, that would be my main point of prospecting. I wouldn't, like, why would you could do anything else?
Yeah.
But it's that psyche that's different. But I think once you get out and break the back of it, it's so much easier.
Yeah, some people are really against it, but obviously they'll be successful in other ways. But for me, I'm definitely a door knocking fan.
Well, and I always think if you go with value rather than just your agent's not very good, I'm better. So one of the things our guys are doing at the moment is they'll go out, they'll knock on the door and go, usual question, see you've been on for ages, la la. Listen, I've produced a dusk shot for your property, and we use a bit of AI that goes, does that, would it be of value if I sent it over? Yeah, sure, brilliant. What was your email? Right. And so it's just building that level of, I guess, authority again, like we said at the start. But also the biggest thing for me is that consistency. 8 doors, 8 times over 8 weeks, right? And if you're constantly hitting the same doors 8 times over 8, you're going to get a response. But you have to be consistent. You have.
Well, they're the most motivated people to sell, aren't they? So, yeah.
Carly, thank you. I really appreciate it today. Your info Dataloft, so I'm happy you gave us the goal.